Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another evening of the journey to the tarot. Last week we finished. I finished with the Hermit, and went. I went through. Hello, Andrea. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Um, I went through, you know, the. I don't want to use the word meaning because really what I'm doing is more talking about the traditions that are in each major arcana, especially with the rider the rider weight tarot deck. So we saw how what the hermit represents, the different traditions in it, and now we are going to continue with um, Major Arcana number 10, the Wheel of Fortune, and um, as I said last week, this is gonna be uh, mm, very interesting talking about the wheel. Um, I hope. Hi, Stace. Thank you for joining. Hi. I hope it's not going to take a lot of time. Okay, the wheel. This is the other weight deck. Um, Here I'll show you. There's a lot to say about the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel in the Rider Waite deck basically gives a meaning to the mystery of fate and the link between the Wheel of Fortune and the world, the Major Arcana 21, is very clear. It's in fact, if I put them side to side, you can see how the resemblance. I mean, we have a wheel, and then we have a dancer in a wreath um, of victory. Um, uh, which the dancer represents the truth behind the symbols that are the mythological animals on the in the corners. Um, and the Wheel of Fortune, many call this major arcana as the arcana of karma. And is hello Michelle. Hi, thank you for joining. Um, and we can say yes, we can say from a certain point of view, it is. Um, when the Buddha, for example, when the Buddha reached the enlightenment, it is said that um, Buddha, the reaching of enlightenment was due to the uh, the fact that the Buddha remembered all um, his past lives, and he had, all this memory, the memory of all his past lives gave him the understanding of uh, why he lived lived the way he lived, which, if you think about it, I know that past lives can't be scientifically proven. So uh, many people mm, don't agree with that, because you don't have a scientific proof of it, even though there are studies, there are places where these things are. But anyway, this is another story. Anyway, um the Buddha basically, the memory all this, the enlightenment that the Buddha reached was reached because basically the memory of these past lives were only forms um, created by his desire. Um, and basically, when when he got the understanding that he was, those were desires, he got basically off the wheel and reached enlightenment. Um, if you remember last week when I was talking about when I was talking about the hermit, uh, I I said that the withdrawal of the hermit from the outer world, it was not to deny themselves to society. It was because the need to go inward would have awakened mm, the true self. So the only hello Caroline, thank you for joining. Hello Amy, thank you for joining. I said hi to Michelle and Ron. Yes, I think I did. And so the only way to awaken our true self is to go um, inward. And when he goes inward, um, the hermit is given a vision of what can possibly happen through the the wheel of fortune. Um, and if we look at this from a psychological point of view, this could be also the representation of what our life um, was gone, and the past. We can make a comparison between the past and hello Kathleen, the past and the present. Mm, Instead, on a deeper level, mm, the vision that we can receive through the wheel of fortune is symbolic and could be mysterious. Um, and the symbols that we find in this major arcana help us to um, to uncover the truth of the situation. Um, the four the four creature that you see in the corners, they derive from the vision of Ezekiel, and they are also mentioned in the Revelations. Do you remember when I told you about my there you go. When I told you at the beginning, very beginning, I think it was the first, second or third talk about the tarot. I told you about my holiday in Sweden. I told you about going to visit in a church, and I told you about when I was entering the church. It was on the top. I saw these four here, and I made sure to take uh, photographs. And um, these are mentioned in the Bible by Ezekiel, the Revelations, and they're called the guardians of the heavens, of the heaven, and they symbolize the four basic elements. So um, fire, water, air, and earth. At the same time, they symbolize also the four suits of the tarot deck. So wands, cups, sword, and pentacles, and the zodiac, the zodiac as well. The sun sign of the zodiac that we have represented here are Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. So both um, the elements and the zodiac signs, they refer to the physical world, um, which can be only understood by learning the lessons of truth. And the other connection with the elements come in the four letters. If you look in the, sorry, I'll put this very close to the camera now. If you look at the wheel, there are four Hebrew letters, and these letters are Y, H, V, and H. There are no vocals, only consonants, and this is the name. Yahweh is the name of God in Hebrew, and mystics meditate on this name, and especially with especially those uh, hello, hello kids, hello, especially those learning Kabbalists of the Kabbalah, sorry, they see these four letters as the symbol of the world's mysteries. And they also think that the process of the creation of the universe occurred in four stages corresponding to the four letters. Now, if you still keep on looking at the rim the of the wheel, you can see some letter, which is Torah, Tarot, and if you go anti-clockwise, and there are more words that come out of these letters, like rota, and from in which in Latin means wheel, the wheel, and I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, otherwise, and then orat, uh, oratio, which in Latin means speak, to speak, and then author, and we can basically there's hello Katie, how are you? Hello Dr. Priya, hello, thank you for joining. um not sorry, I'm not doing readings this evening. mm, and we have a sentence out of it, which is rotataro orat tora ator, which is all, it's all Latin. And in English, this means the wheel of Tarot speaks the law of Hathor. Mm, Hathor was known in Egypt as the goddess of the dead, and it's actually the law of eternal life, uh, concealed, um, the law of eternal life in disguise in the natural world, meaning then the body dies, our soul is eternal. And then there are other four symbols here. These are, I didn't know, these are called spokes. These here, one, two, three, and four, and these are archaic archaic symbols um, of elements. And one is the symbol for the planet Mercury. One is the symbol for sulfur, water, and salt, referring to um, they basically refer to the alchemical process of transformation. It's a little bit uh, what I said before uh, about transforming the lowest element into the highest, into gold. Here is represented again. So um, alchemy as well is very much present in the Rider Waite, together with Hermetism, occultism, the Order of the Golden Dawn. Um, and the idea of death and rebirth is symbolized by the creatures around the wheel. This one, if you look at this snake here, sorry, put it here. This snake is called the Sep, and is the bringer of death in the universe. And Set killed the Osiris, the god of life. Instead, the jackal headed here, mm, going up is Anubis. Um, and basically is the guide of the dead soul and gives also new life. According to some legends, Anubis is Set's son. So, as you can see, we see that only, death brings new life. Um, but when we are scared of death, or we live in fear, we only um, we only learn uh, a part of the truth. On the top of the wheel, sorry, put it here. There's a sphinx, and the sphinx here is Horus, Osiris' son, and the god of resurrection. So life has triumphed over death, um, and the sphinx here signifies the mystery of life. Um, the god the god Set was also called uh, the the god of darkness and the fear. So when we live in fear of the darkness, is we are basically driven by our ego. That's also um, another meaning. And when we look at wheel of fortune and the previous, and we think about the chariot, when we are, the chariot was everything, was all about willpower, about control, and all this. If it's excessive, then it it becomes ego driven. But if we are willing to go beyond the chariot, and we accept, we do the work. We do the work that we are supposed to do. If you watch back the recording, uh, we allow our ego to die, and we become who we are who we are supposed to be. So life is really powerful. Life is really can be chaotic, but out of chaos always always come something new. If you think of chaos can bring destruction, but when you build up out of destruction, you build up everything completely something completely new. You build up from scratch. Um, so um, so this is the message is basically that Horus can bring new life out of chaos, and the wheel so can turn up and can turn down. And this is mm, this is the wheel. Now we have the major arcana here, justice, number 11. And the image of uh, this major arcana, do you remember that was swapped with the number 8, strength, to match um, another, uh, the tarot deck created by the Order of the Golden Dawn. So justice was number 8 and strength number 11, and then they were inverted. Strength became number 8 and justice number 11. So this major arcana is completely inspired by the Greek Titaness Themis, which represents the legal justice, and is blindfolded to demonstrate that the law is um, does does not discriminate anybody and applies to all. But as we have seen, the social justice is it's something that regards the emperor, not this one, not this major arcana. The justice, the this major arcana indicates more that um, the psychic law of justice depends on seeing the truth about ourselves, and about life, and um, that's why this this representation of justice is not wearing the blindfold. Okay, if you look at the figure, okay, the figure uh, reminds of the high priestess and the magician at the same time. The high priestess, because the figure sits again between two pillars, has a veil at her back, and the magician, because of the color of the robe, which is red. I don't know if you can see red, and he's is holding one arm upward and the other downward, one holding the sword and the other holding the scales. And the sword as well has an important meaning, like um, the sword upward mean, it's finding um, the true meaning. It's a two-edged sword. So it means that we in life we have to make choices, we have to make decisions, and once we make, we choose, when we make a decisions, we can't um, we can change it. So we decide basically we create our actions by the decisions we make today. And and she sits between the two pillars, stone pillars, on a bench. Um, and justice is also a way to cut through illusions. The illusion of life, that life has to be always, we have to always be doing things. But one thing is doing, one thing is being active. We have seen already with the hermit that when we turn inward, is not a state of not doing anything. It's actually when uh, when we retire from the outer world and we go inward, that we um, awaken. So it's not a passive state, it's an active state. And also it's an opportunity for us to for understanding why certain things have happened in our life. We can see the veil, mm, the veil's color at the back, I don't know if you can see it, is purple and is an emblem of inner wisdom. Um, the crown, mm, the hair, um, are is is yellow, um, and it's a sign of mental force. But at the same time, all our hello Amanda, our efforts of thinking are not are not fruitful unless our thinking guides us towards the truth. Or at least towards a vision of the truth. And we have seen how with the wheel we were given um, a vision of the our personal life, whereas on the other hand, justice is um, an understanding of that vision, and that understanding lies in responsibility. When we accept that every event in our lives um, has contributed to form our characters, and that we continue to create ourselves through our actions, um, then the sword of mystery cuts through um, the mystery. And when we accept the responsibility for ourselves, when we accept the responsibility, we also free ourselves from the past. We go back mm, to the Buddha and his past lives. He got the enlightenment. He reached the enlightenment when he understood his past lives. When he took um, also responsibility and became aware of it. We look at it from a psychological point of view. This is coming up a lot. So, with the persona, um, again, Jung's theory, with the persona, mm, we create our character and so on. We create our character to present ourselves in life, and we can create different ones for different situations as well. But The mask we create control us um, until we admit to ourselves that we created it. So once we once we recognize this, hello, hi Aditi, hi, um, just a moment, just a moment. Okay, just a moment. I'll finish this and then you can type. Can you type your question? Don't know if I'm pronouncing. Um, so when we admit to ourselves that we have created a persona, personality uh, for the outer world, so we are not um, our authentic self. And when we take responsibility for it, when we admit it to ourselves, um, our ego doesn't have power on us anymore because that's our ego. It means that we have passed the ego. Um, I'm not doing readings. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Uh, no, sorry, ladies. Ladies, I'm not doing readings. Sorry. Uh, maybe I'm boring you, but please bear with me. Nearly done. Okay. So um, understanding also is a part of our physical existence, and so because we are physical beings living. No, we are spiritual beings. Sorry, living a physical existence, a physical experience. Um, we also need to acknowledge the limitations that we have. Uh, but admitting our limitations could be um, could be also a way to pass them. Could help us pass them. And of course, our limitations can include everything. So it's never wrong to admit to ourselves or admit with others our limiting understanding. Anyway, the person or persons we are maybe talking to, they will understand it instead of coming across, you know, not realizing or thinking to um, to know. Um, Control is a part of the ego. So when we surrender to the ego, mm, when we surrender to the control, the ego has no power above us anymore. And the universe, um, nobody can really control what happens in the universe. There are the universal laws, there are different laws that, uh, but man um, can't really. And when we talk about responsibility, it's like admitting to ourselves, uh, more than others, actually, um, that what we have created with our actions, being responsible for that. So, um, there's also another component about this major arcana. Um, i- in the past more than now, actually, because this is can't really be applied to the now. Um, in the era where individualism was more to the fore, the attention was more on the um, uh, personal death and rebirth. But when we look about when we look at the great initiations, um, there are um, they served not only to transform the person, um, but also linked the initiate to the mysteries of the universe. And when uh, uh, when we consider this concept, we can see also why this major arcana um, where why um, is placed, um, let's say, at the center of the second line of the major arcana. We see in the major arcana here that the scales are balanced. So the balanced scales of justice um, indicate a stationary post, a stationary point. So when again, when the opposites, um, including past and present, um, are balanced, we are able to be free within ourselves. Okay, now we have um, 10 minutes left, and I would like to start um, with the hangman. Okay, here we go. Major Arcana number 12, the hangman. Okay, basically, do you remember when I was talking about um, the chariot? I mentioned that the justice could have seen also like we doing on we doing an assessment of our life till today, what we have done so far. When it comes um, when it comes to the hangman, um, there's you know mm, the acceptance. We are in a state of acceptance of what we have done. And it's interesting how the depiction of the hangman has been interpreted um, by different by different traditions. And that's because we can see, I mean, it's can be stupid to point it out, but if you look at the card and you see a man hanging down, but it's in this position the man reaches um enlightenment. And that's why this card has always always drawn interests. And this is how to draw energy. And actually, occultists really believed that um, in order to draw energy to your head, um, someone has to, you know, be hung upside down. And you can see here that the hangman is um, hanging from this tree. You know, it's um it's a pole, and then from this tree with leaves on the sides, left and right, and it looks like a T letter, the tree, which might resemble the Egyptian, the bottom part of the Egyptian ankh without the topper part, which is the Egyptian symbol for life. And this is called a Tau cross. And according to some scholars, uh, the letter the ankh in Egypt stood for the letter Tau, um, which is the same letter that we find in mm, in the Wheel of Fortune, and which is the letter of the world. And we can see that the hanged man doesn't touch the ground, the soul lies halfway. So it doesn't touch the ground. The legs are crossed, forming again. We find again the number 4 here, which has um, an important meaning. And if we turn the hanged man upside down, this is the reverse basically. The hanged man has the same position like the the dancer, at least the position of the legs. The only difference is the arms are for the hanged man are inward, whilst for the world are extended outward. Yes, and there's also, if it is also said that the same position as a four is held by the emperor. The emperor as well forms a four with his legs, and this is something is recurring, and this is um, well, not in this deck, but um, there are decks where the emperor is depicted with the legged cross, one leg crossed on the other end, forming the number four, not in the Rider Waite. And the reason is because this number is important. Um, so the reason why the arms are kept inward is because at um, this stage of the spiritual enlightenment can be only kept um, when the hangman is um, does not live in the outer world, um, and he is upside down, so he's withdrawn from society. Instead, in the world, this state, because it's a this state of enlightenment, which is already reached fully, can be maintained, and the dancer is in in society, can live can live um, can live their life in society with the level of enlightenment reached. But at this stage of the hangman, uh, it's still important to withdraw from the society. So basically, the interpretation that is being given, recognizing that the tree that he's hanging could be the lower part of the ankh, the Egyptian symbol of life, uh, mm, makes this tree the tree of life. And obviously, the most not appropriate is, recalling the Norse mythology with the hanged man, which um, I see a very strong resemblance. And everybody, according to the Norse mythology, Odin uh, hanged himself upside down on Yggdrasil, the tree, um, and sacrificed an eye as well to reach, the wisdom. In the Norse mythology, this tree was called the world tree, and the tree begins in the underworld, in the unconscious, and then reaches out to the world, to the conscious, and then to the universal consciousness, the superconscious. And beside the numerology, the numbers, the number 12, and beside the the evolution, we can see the evolution from the lovers through to the hangman, and we see how all the symbolism of the hangman um, is very powerful, because and nevertheless he is in a very uncomfortable position. Anyway, if you look at the image, is it's a representation of uh, peace and understanding. And that's because the hangman has surrendered, and has become an active in in their spiritual progression. It the hangman also, it's also seen as releasing the emotions that we have, that people might have trapped in their body for many many years. And even if the hangman seems to be in he's tied up, uh, his foot is tied up, his legs, sorry, his arms are tied up behind his back. So it seems to be in a passive mode, in a passive situation. In reality, he's not. It's like, it's the same for the justice. You know, he's in an active mode because he's surrendered. And surrendering to the world tree, it's it's a step. It's a step we take. Okay. Um, I guess I will continue with the hangman, and next finish with the hangman next Monday. Um, and I guess I will go a little bit um, over um, the hour, trying to be more mm, and then uh, going through the death and temperance. Um, yes. Uh, so thank you to those who joined the live. I really appreciate your presence. At least it doesn't seem that I'm talking to myself, but it doesn't. It doesn't matter. I'm really grateful, and I hope that you can take anything for it. I'm learning a lot, and I really enjoying this. Mostly because I'm seeing new things from a different angle, which is it's always good. So thank you everybody. Thank you to Universal Spiritualism and Veronica Jenkins. Uh, I'll see you all on Saturday for the media readings, and next Monday uh, to um, go to go through the Hangman, and then continue with other two and three major arcana. I'm trying to um, but you see, then there's a I'm a cutting a little bit and trying to speak a little bit faster, so I can condense more things in 1 hour. So thank you everybody. I wish you a nice continuation of your week, and I'll see you all on next Monday for Journey to the Tarot, and on Saturday evening for the mini readings with me. Thank you, everybody, and have a nice evening.